Hello, awesome real estate family. I am Amber Alban Hall with Real Estate Listing Masters, and today we are talking about real estate marketing, price dropping. When to drop the price of the home. When do you? After a week of no showings? After a week of no offers? Let's talk about this hot topic because, especially in a shifting market, this becomes critical. But these rules that I'm going to share with you have been pertinent in any market, and I think you're going to see why. But it's important. It's important to take listings that have serious pricing, that the sellers are on board with pricing, with what's going on in the market, because this is a window of opportunity, and it has to be a quick window of opportunity. Okay. So, number one is right after we list. Right after you list a property, if you don't have 10 showings within 5 days, it's time to have that price conversation. Okay? It absolutely is time to have that price conversation. If you don't have an offer in hand within 10 showings or 10 days, it is time to not just have the conversation, but to take action. So here's why. Number one is when you price a home, when you price a property and you're in line with the market, you should be getting showings. When you're getting showings, you can now get feedback. And when you have that live feedback from agents, from buyers, from this collection of people who have actually seen the property, who can actually tell you their point of view, you can pass that on to your sellers, okay? Sometimes that feedback is changeable. Sometimes it's, oh, they didn't love the paint or the carpet, the flooring's outdated, whatever the case may be. Now, the more homes you have on the market, the more competition you have, the more desirable your property has to be, or it has to be priced perfectly right. The less options, this is basic supply and demand, right? We've seen a market recently with not a lot of supply and a high demand. Buyers didn't really care. I will get into that house, just get me that house, and I will change the carpet. I will change the flooring. I will change the paint. I don't even care. Just get me a house, okay? But when you're in a market that has lots of opportunity, lots of homes on the market, lots of things to choose from, multiple properties per neighborhood, now your home has to either be priced the best or it has to look and feel the best. So when you get people, when you get buyers into your home, when you get real estate agents into your home, and you can get that real live feedback, you can pass that on to your sellers. Some things can't be changed. What do we know can't be changed? Location. You have a water tower in your backyard, that's going to be a problem. You can't deconstruct that water tower. You can't pick the house up and move it somewhere else. It's going to have to reflect in the price, or you're going to be looking for the right buyer to purchase that home. One time have I ever in 12 plus years had a buyer or a seller. They weren't on a busy road, but they backed to a very, very, very busy road. We took this into account when we priced initially, but every buyer who came through, nope, I think the road noise is going to be an issue. I can't barbecue in the backyard. I can't entertain in the backyard. The noise is going to be an issue. And the sellers did not want to budge. And you know what? We found a buyer after about a month, which doesn't sound like a very long time, but when properties are selling all around you fairly quickly, it feels like an eternity. After about a month, a buyer came through and said, you know what? The country that I'm from is very, very, very busy. We love this road noise. This reminds us of our country where we're from. So that's what it took in this instance and that situation. It took the right buyer. But that's like looking for a needle in a haystack unless you're priced right. For the majority of homes, you're going to have to look at price. one other instance where the sellers would not drop the price, you miss a huge opportunity of marketing, because you and I both know that the newer the listing is, the more exciting it is. And so when you're priced right and you get a lot of activity and you get a lot of buyers in there, then that's your biggest window of opportunity to get offers and to get that property sold. The longer you go, the more people start thinking two things. Number one, what's wrong with that property? Okay, there's got to be something wrong with the property. Do I even want to see it? Do I want to waste my time? I don't know. It starts to become an emotional decision. Number two thing that starts going through their mind is, how much can I negotiate and how much money can I get off on that property if I'm going to make an offer? It's been on the market for a long time. How desperate are they? So you also need to know what you're working with and the mentality that you're working with your sellers. Because if your seller thinks, you know what, I want to throw my house on the market and I don't need to sell it. If it doesn't sell and I want to get top dollar and nothing happens, that's your time. That's your money. That's your risk that you're taking to commit to that seller. That's energy that you're using to try and get that home sold, to be able to do your job and add to your portfolio as well. And so you have to weigh these things and really take into consideration the value that's on the table, and is it a win-win for all parties involved? Because as agents, it is our job to get top dollar for our sellers. When we list a home, our job absolutely is to get top dollar, but our job is to sell the property. Okay, so that's really what you're doing when you're listing a home on the market and the house doesn't get an offer or doesn't sell. 10 showings or 10 days. After 10 days, you should be dropping the price. Now, another thing to consider, this is like the fourth or fifth thing, I don't even know anymore, but another thing to consider in this point is that when the house is on the market a little bit longer and you drop the price, you're now either chasing the market if prices are dropping across the board, or you're leading the market, okay? And that's the conversation you also want to have with your sellers. Only one time as well have I had a listing where we listed the property, and when we listed the property, we had 0 showings for 10 days. We dropped the price. We had 0 showings. I'm not talking like no offers. I'm saying 0 people came into that property. Now, in a market that's shifting, you start to go, what's going on? Give it a couple days, give it a couple days. I started making phone calls to the other agents that were in that area, same exact thing. And so because I worked with the agents in the area and was hearing that they were having the same experience that I was, we were able to start digging out further and further, because we didn't have the data to go off of. We didn't have the showings to go off of, and we didn't have the feedback to give to our sellers. Here's what we were finding out, is that this city that this listing was in was just far enough from where most people worked. It was just far enough from where most of the restaurants were, that gas prices and inflation also were a big, big concern on buyers' minds. And so they didn't want to drive to this city that just 2 months earlier had been a really exciting, up and coming, kind of outlied a little bit, but it was having a lot of growth and development, that now with a couple of shifts in the market that were out of our control, that were out of the seller's control, out of everyone's control, it changed the perception now. And so we had to make bigger adjustments to be able to make that property more desirable for buyers to want to make that drive, for that balance to be there in the perception. But that didn't come because of feedback. So you have to start working together with the other agents in your area. You can also do things like Open houses on the same day and the same time. Make it like a festival and an exciting thing for people to come to and draw attention to get some of that feedback. But if you're just getting zero activity, you have to start looking at the big picture and seeing exactly what's going on. So I hope this information was helpful. As always, visit us on our website, relmasters.com. Again, that's relmasters.com, where we talk all things listing marketing for agents. So if you want to perfect your listing game, if you want to get better, if you want to really build a solid foundation that turns your listings into lead generating machines every single time, that's what we specialize in. I can't wait to see you on our website and in some of our trainings where you become family. Amber Almond Hall with Real Estate Listing Masters. See you soon.